The stars blurred into curved lines of silver, crisscrossing the spaceman's field of vision as he tumbled and spun. He flailed his arms and legs, his grasp searching for something, anything to arrest his motion. Which way is up? Henry Gallagher asked himself. There was no up in space, but when one is in a free fall, rationality takes a dive as well. He awoke in that state, shaken by a floating piece of debris, a rock, or more possibly a torn-off hunk of satellite. The loud thud to the back of his helmet roused him from unconsciousness just as much as the spinning that immediately followed. Soon enough, his movement had slowed to what felt like stillness, his body having found its own orbit. "Comms," Henry called out weakly. The inner screen of his helmet came to life with icons and graphs. "Communication system out of range." "Find Altaire," he stated. Even as his screen zoomed in on the station, he could barely see it. Space Habitat Altaire floated far beyond him, at the edge of the Earth's horizon where much of Asia slowly disappeared from view. The screen flashed a directional arrow and a number too big for him to comprehend. "Holy fuck," he muttered under his breath. "How did I get here?" He got no response. Apparently, the smart suits weren't as smart as he'd been promised. All it told him was that it was Saturday, October 10th, 2089, 5:53 p.m. station time. He pulled up his vitals, which showed his oxygen saturation, his pulse and breathing rate, his blood pressure. All stable, all things considered. Most importantly, his tank had enough O2 for another 3 hours and change. Henry knew that the Altaire orbited the globe about 18 times in the span of a day, and he assured himself with this fact. The station would circle back around to where he was well before he ran out of air. He checked that his signal beacon was still transmitting, then pulled up his coordinates to see when this flyby would occur. The display told him that he was 1,400 kilometers above sea level, on an orbit well below the Altaire's. The station could float directly above him, and he would still be too far to establish comm range. Blind panic began to set in, but all was not lost. Henry reached for the control arms of his jetpack. All he needed to do was propel himself toward the Altaire's orbit, close enough for its scanners to pick up his signal beacon. Cheered by the prospect of rescue, he held on and pressed the buttons on the jetpack controls, only to be deflated by the display on his screen. "Propellant 0%,